This thing on? All right. So, here we are. Once again. Fucking almost live. But I say almost live because, like, there's a huge fucking delay between me talking and it actually showing up in the stream because I'm literally just looking over right now at the preview channel. So I've tried to nail this live bullshit in a little more because, quite honestly, this is hard to do as a one-man deal. So if you see me looking away from the screen, it's because I'm also kind of trying to monitor the chat, to interact with you guys when I can. But the main theme for today, for the people that aren't going to be able to participate live, is egg fasts, juice fasts, fat fasting versus water fast. There are many different fucking forms of fasting. But before I get into that, I would like to verify that everything's fucking working properly. I see JP Lavin, Laura Rios, and Lauren Linton are in the chat. So if one of you could let me know that you can actually fucking hear what I'm saying, that would be great because I really can't test the audio very well on that. Well, actually, let me try and just double check myself. Yeah, it's working. All right. So, yeah, you guys don't have to do any work. I got it. So, anyways, I've gotten this comment more often than not as far as what kind of other fasts, have you tried this? Have you tried that, with the egg fast? Egg fast, of course, being where you have nothing but eggs all day and fat. Eggs and fat. Essentially the most restricted version of a ketogenic diet that you can fucking have. And, I think you can already imagine where I'm going to come at you on this, but that's just one of the fad fasts. So I'm going to give you my views on each one. Then there is, of course, the juice fast, which can come in many varieties. There's people that believe fruit juice fasting is good for you, which I don't believe. The best option for juice fasting, in my opinion, would be the green version, whereas you're just juicing a bunch of vegetables and drinking that green slimy puke instead of eating meals. And so I'll give my thoughts on that. Of course, my favorite alternative to real water fasting is fat fasting, which goes without saying. So I'll get into the pros and cons of that. But of course, water fasting. And water fasting is the most traditional and some would argue the hardest to do of all of these options. So the egg fast. I did some research on this particular topic. Some of the other fasting and keto YouTubers out there have actually done this. I might, just for shits and grins, do it and talk about results, but right now I'm kind of not sold on doing it. These are all of these other fasts are crutches for people to lean on when it comes to fucking water fasting, all right? If you're gonna fast, fucking fast. You don't need to, add all of these crutches. Yes, they're good interim tools to get you in the mood for doing a water fast, but they all have their failures for different reasons. There are some specific things that happen during a water fast that will not happen during an egg fast, will not happen during a juice fast, and even with a fat fast, although you'll get most of the way there with a fat fast, you just cannot duplicate all of the processes that are triggered in your body when you do a water fast. It's important to trigger everything because your body has a very specific survival response to a water fast. And if you are using one of these other crutches, you're not getting all the way there. And in some cases, it'll be detrimental to your progress. The egg fast essentially a heavily calorie restricted version of a ketogenic diet. You also will be restricting your micronutrients. Now, granted, eggs are very micronutrient dense, for as far as, meats and fats go. If you were going to pick one, eggs would be it. By far, it's almost a superfood, in terms of the micronutrient content. So it does help there. However, one of the things that happens during a water fast is your body cleans out your digestive system and your fat and anywhere else, your lean tissue, with autophagy, and it gets its micronutrition during this period of starvation from your cells, from your fat, from all of the crap that's stored in your digestive system. So if you are consuming eggs, you're getting protein and fat. Protein turns off autophagy. Autophagy is where the cells eat themselves and give amino acids and other byproducts to your body. There's several processes that get triggered when you do a water fast that if you consume protein or carbs, we'll get to that in the juice fast portion of this, that get turned off. And protein, your body is very protein sensitive. It only takes a little hair of protein to kick you out of autophagy. And autophagy, I believe, is an integral part of water fasting, not necessarily from a weight loss standpoint, although some would argue it does reduce your lean mass weight. It definitely fucking is a requirement for you to get all the way there, to get healthier, to get rid of the toxins in your body. You're not going to do it if you're getting calories and protein. It's going to not enable all of these processes that are triggered when you do a water fast. When your body knows nothing is coming in, it triggers a series of biological fucking processes that allow you to pretty much survive without food. It cleans house. It cleans out your digestive tract. Anyone who's done a really long water fast knows that you're going to be sitting on the bowl, sometimes against your will. All right? There's going to be some explosive shit happens. And, you don't want that to happen while you're out driving or something like that. Preferably where you got free access to the bowl is where you want to do your long water fasts. But leaving shit aside, you want these processes, all right, in addition to the weight loss. Now, we all know you can restrict your fucking calories and get the weight loss. But what happens after that? You get it back once the calories return to normal. Long fasts followed by fucked up eating, as I just talked about this last week, also will bring your fucking weight back. It's not fun when you regain weight after you put yourself through a long fast, all right? And I just did this. And it was my own fault because I binged afterwards. I am going to make another run at a 5-day fast in probably a few weeks or so after, I'll get back into the groove of ADF, which, by the way, I'm at 37.25 inches this morning. I am approximately 193.9 pounds this morning, so my weight is up from pre-fast weights. Actually, it's about the same where I started fed. Today is a fast day. I am approximately 27 hours fasted right now. 36 hours falls at like 2:30 in the morning. So when I wake up tomorrow morning, I will be well over 40 hours fasted. I might even push it to 48 just to see where I'm at. So tomorrow's the real benchmark of my post-fast ADF, back in the swing of ADF recovery. As you know, I did a almost 72-hour fast after my weekend binge to help offset all the shit that I did over the weekend. So getting back to the topic at hand. So egg fasts, should you do them? If you consistently fail at water fasts, they can probably get you, train you. In fact, maybe you want to start with a 3-day egg fast and transition into a water fast from there. Just kind of ease into the whole not fasting for a super long time. You're getting nutrition, you're getting electrolytes, obviously, you're getting, I'm not sure of the potassium content of eggs, and but coffee I know does have potassium. Sodium, obviously you can drench salt all over your fucking eggs. And, I think it could be used as a crutch for somebody who just can't pull off a 5-day fast. All right. So maybe start with 2 days of egg fasting and then just transition to straight up water fasting from there. Kind of an ease in. This is, not scientific or anything. This is how I would approach if I couldn't do a long water fast, which I can do. I'm having absolutely no trouble with today's fast. Not even hungry in the least. But it's not the best crutch, in my opinion, for fasting. The best crutch, in my opinion, is fat fasting. So I'm just going to transition straight to that. We'll leave the juice fast for last because to me that's the bottom ranking one here. Fat fasting. That is by far what I would, if I was going to use a crutch and not do a true water fast, fat fasting would be my go-to. So what is that? Typically, it's nothing more than just adding fat to your coffee or consuming fat only in some way. I mean, if you want to choke down a spoonful of coconut oil or, a spoonful of butter, or eat a pat of butter, which I've never done and probably never will, to try and reduce... shit. Why did my shit get all fucked up here? All right, I noticed I was buffering. But if you wanted to do that in an effort to try and reduce the hunger issues, which eating fat does, like if you're really struggling with the hunger pangs, a fat fast would be the way to go. Also, for those of you writing in the chat, don't worry, I do plan on doing a Q&A and hanging out with you guys. I just want to get through the material first, and then we can talk about whatever afterwards. So a fat fast can be effective in either prolonging an existing water fast or really just building up to a water fast. A fat fast isn't necessarily, unless you put some salt in it or you use some other electrolytes, isn't going to really help you if you're electrolyte deficient, as in you get cramps and shit and you feel like shit and you feel lethargic and shitty. As I say, whenever you feel like that, you need to sort out your electrolytes before attempting the long fast, mainly by consuming rich amount of electrolytes prior to doing your fast, salt, potassium, magnesium, that kind of stuff, which means you go eat the vegetables and shit. Vegans will be happy about that. I'm telling you to eat vegetables. So, prepping yourself that way. Or say you're on like day, the 3rd day of your fast, which is typically the roughest fucking day. But you don't want to give up. You can turn to fat as a means to get through the hump. All right. Myself, when I feel the need to crutch my way through a fast, I will add heavy cream, preferably organic without carrageenan in it, but that's hard to find. Because carrageenan makes me shit. I don't know what it is, but when I have heavy cream with carrageenan, I end up in the bowl. When I have it without the carrageenan, I'm fine. And I feel better without the carrageenan. But I just got derailed there. Sorry. That's what happens when I do live shit. I can't edit this out. I have my little fucking stream of thought, and that's what happens. So I myself use heavy cream in my coffee as my crutch when I want to turn a water fast into a fat fast or get through a longer fast. You are consuming calories, so you are reactivating your digestive system when you do this, which turns off some of the processes that your body does for water fasting. And of course, it goes without saying that if you're consuming fat, you're not burning your own ass, all right? Until that's gone. And it can stay in your gut a while. fat does hang out in your digestive system till it's gone. It takes more work for your digestive system to break it down, and it's just a whole lot of nutrition just sitting in your ass. So the more fat and meat you consume, the longer it'll stay. That's why people get constipated and all of that if they don't drink enough water, and so on and so forth. So fat does not spike your insulin, and fat alone with no protein or carbs does not kick you out of autophagy. In fact, consuming fat can boost ketosis, as in your body does a ketogenic process to take in the fat, to use the energy from the meal you just ate, especially since you're already in a state of ketosis when you consume the fat. It basically is very seamless for your body to burn fat in your digestive system and then easily transition over to burning your body fat, which is one of the reasons it is a good cure for hunger. You're telling your body, all we got's fat, bitch. Eat the fat and leave me the fuck alone with your hunger pangs. That's what you're telling your body when you do that. So just, that's what it is. It's a crutch. Should you do it? If you have to. If you want to go longer, if you're getting good results, I find that fat fasting does slow progress a little, but it doesn't move the needle that much. So the fact that you can still make good progress with fat and, consuming fat only, healthy fat, not vegetable oil. I got to make that distinction for some reason nowadays. If that's all you're doing and that's the only macronutrient you take in, that gets you like 80% of the way, which leads me to talk about a related topic, the fasting mimicking diet. Dr. Walter Longo has done a series of experiments on trying to really pussify fasting, as in he's saying that, if you do a fasting mimicking diet, you will, get all of the benefits of, including autophagy, all the benefits of fasting. And it's essentially, from what I can tell, a highly restrictive ketogenic diet, and you have to buy his shit. In fact, the entire protocol's behind a fucking paywall. And from all of the research I can do, from what I'm saying, his main theme is restricting protein, which, as I said before, will kick you out of autophagy. So if you're not consuming protein, you're going to use your own body as protein. And that's what autophagy is all about. So, yeah, I don't buy into the fasting mimicking diet. I don't buy into the egg fast for that reason. The fact is, consuming protein turns off autophagy and a number of other survival processes that your body kicks into gear when you do a water fast. In order to get the full benefits of fasting for health and weight loss, water, black coffee, tea, unsweetened, no calories ingested. Which brings me to the ever-dreaded motherfucking son of a bitch fucking juice fasting. All right, juice fasting. This is essentially, in my opinion, a very low-calorie fucking diet. That's it. It would be the same as doing the alternate day diet every day, as in you're consuming 600 calories a day, probably spread throughout the day. If you're doing, the vegetable juice version. If you're doing the fruit juice version, I don't even know what you're thinking. You're definitely gonna fuck yourself up doing a juice fast, which is high in fructose and sugar, because you'll be overloading your liver at that point and creating more of the bad fat. So I really don't have much to say about the juice fast. I would never do one. I have tried juicing vegetables, and I feel like I'm drinking fucking lawn clippings. it did nothing for me. I did this while keto adapted. I tried to, I was trying to get some kind of variety or seeing if I can come up with some shit. So I juiced some vegetables and, it sucked. I didn't like it. You know, Now, to be fair to that crowd, you are dosing yourself with a huge amount of micronutrients because you can consume a hell of a lot more vegetables in juice form than you can is a salad or a keto meal. So that's pretty much where I stand with that. So bottom line, versus water fasting, all of these are inferior. However, whatever works for you as a crutch to get you to the water fasts, to get you to better health, you do it what you got to do. Try out these things if you're curious on how it works for you. These are my thoughts on this shit. But I'm by no means am I discouraging you from trying other things. Figure out what works for you. And that's the bottom line when you talk about versus the water fast. Water fasting is my trump card for everything. I use it to fix fuck ups. I use it to supplement a ketogenic diet. I use it when I want to eat the standard American horseshit diet. I use it where I can to fix problems, and I use it to maintain my weight. Because if I didn't fast regularly, I would easily regain the weight unless I was full keto. Which I already know, if I go full keto and eat every day and don't worry about calories and none of that, I do not regain a significant amount of weight. I stay where I'm at. I hit my plateau level, wherever that may be. I still contend it's in the low 190s. And that's where I'll stay if I remain ketogenic. I don't gain back the weight when I get rid of the carbs and sugar because guess what? Low insulin, no weight regain. Low appetite, you're not overeating. Those are the two keys of keto. Keto is a good supplemental tool to fasting because it gets rid of that hunger problem. And it makes doing fasting easier, water fasting. So if I were going to try and use a crutch for water fasting, it would be a ketogenic diet rich with electrolyte supplementation, as in pour salt on your shit, and that'll be that. So now that we're done with the topic, I'm going to just hang out now. So if you're watching this pre-recorded, there may be some dead air and shit while I go through some of the comments. I'm scrolling back up now to see if I missed anything. Paul Smart just finished Jason Fung's book. That's definitely cool. I liked his book, The Obesity Code, and he is pretty straightforward, pretty laid back with his opinions on intermittent fasting. So I recommend him also as a good source of inspiration. And he has used it to treat many patients. What else we got here? Can you, Laura Rios? Sorry, I butcher your names. I apologize. Can I add butter and heavy cream on my coffee on my third day of fasting? Absolutely, especially if you want to go beyond the third day and you're just really feeling the hunger, or maybe you just want to finish the day on a high note and remain in ketosis overnight and wake up the next morning and eat. By all means, it's better than breaking the fast. All right, it's definitely better than breaking the fast. Keto Man, his main theme is pay me, bitch. No, my main theme is not pay me, bitch. In fact, I haven't even plugged my shit. I will plug my shit, but, that's just for trying to build the channel. I'm not trying to, come on here to get paid. I came on here to do a live show and hang out. But thanks for saying I'm a money-grubbing bitch. All right. Let's see. Viper GM, good way to break it, though. Keeping fat high and carbs, protein low, and not spiking insulin. Yep, that's, like I said, the protein is the killer for autophagy. Not even, carbs. Also, I believe the insulin spike will do it. Not to forget the human growth hormone aspect of things. When you spike your insulin, your human growth hormone, which mobilizes your fat and allows you to use it as an energy source, drops. So that's why the juice fast thing is shit, because you raise your insulin and lower your human growth hormone. They're the opposite. When one's high, the other's low. They don't work together, they work opposite. Viper GM tried a 7-day juicing diet, lost about 10 pounds. Think more or less instantly put it back on. I was absolutely ravenous by day 5. Yeah, that's the other problem with the juice fast, is that you're going to be fucking hungry. If you eat carbs, you're hungry. If you're in a caloric deficit and you're consuming carbs and sugar, I don't care how healthy that shit is, you will feel hungry. Our satiation comes from protein and fat, not from carbs. You know? Unless you're mixing fat with the carbs, which is what most people do. So, Dr. Fung allows unlimited bone broth, but only with compliance. This is from Paul Smart. Water, tea, coffee only is better. Which is true, but bone broth, you're getting some protein and you're turning some things off. But if you're having electrolyte issues, that probably would take priority over, autophagy at that point. So, yeah, protein along with the electrolytes you get with bone broth to help solve, like if you're cramping up and you feel like a bag of dog shit. So, Chris H, will I lose muscle in a water fast? Well, that depends. You might lose a little bit of gains in the first 72 hours, but eventually you're going to regain the gains, very quickly. Because a lot of the muscle tissue that you do lose during the transition period, before you become protein sparing, before your body's human growth hormone is spiked to the point where it's preserving your lean mass, particularly the lean mass you use. If you're not using it, your body's like it's open territory. So yes, you can lose a gain or two, but not hard to get it back. You will get it back a lot quicker than you did the first time around. So when you got to keep in mind, fasting is about tearing shit down. Feasting is also the important part of the equation. If you consume enough protein, enough calories, and you're doing your resistance training to try and build muscle or keep muscle in between your fasts, muscle loss will not be an issue at all. If you're doing the shit you need to do for gains in between your fasts, while you're fasting, you might notice some dips in strength here and there, depending on how well adapted you are. But overall, you will maintain your muscle during the fast. And of course, you can always do a bulk cycle where you're not fasting and you're keeping your insulin up and building muscle and fat, and then fast the fat off while trying to preserve the muscle. That's pretty much what most bodybuilding intermittent fasters subscribe to. All right, don't be too alarmed, Viper GM. Don't be too alarmed when you return to normal eating and you are likely put on 6 to 8 pounds. That 3+ pounds of fat in such a short period is excellent. I am alarmed when I put on the 6 to 8 pounds, mainly because I also know I put the fat back, and I did. Clearly, after this time period and the subsequent 72-hour fast, and now being on ADF again, I had a zero-sum game when it came to the fast. That doesn't mean I regret the fast. It doesn't mean that I didn't get any benefits. I do feel my skin complexion cleared up quite a bit, and it also gave me resolve to not fuck up again next time. So that's the benefits that I got from my 5-day fast. So... Oh, I thought you were talking about me. But yeah, Walter Longo was fucking. This is Keto Mad. Yeah, Walter Longo is definitely pay me to get the advice. So that's the fucking issue I have with the fasting mimicking diet is no one knows what the fuck it is unless they go behind the paywall. Something I will never do. I am always sharing how I do shit, what I do shit. And, granted, I'm no scientist, but I really think science is useless if you have to pay to get it, and it's really suspect. It really takes away your credibility when what you're saying can only be found out if people pay you. So that's the number one thing I look for bias. So sorry about the misunderstanding there, Keto Man. I thought you were trying to say I'm on here to say about pay me, bitch. Let's see. After extended fasting, my plan is to eat one keto meal per day. This is AZ Sunshine. And fast the next day and repeat. I have done that protocol to where you do ADF with keto, and it is highly effective, and the fasting periods are easy. However, I did notice for when I did it, I was fucking up with my electrolytes. I wasn't getting enough salt, so I would sometimes feel like shit during a long fast coupled with a ketogenic diet. So it's really important if you're eating keto before transitioning to a long water fast that you get the motherfucking macronutrients and the, nutrition down. That means vegetables. That means stuff rich in magnesium. That means stuff rich in sodium, believe it or not. If you're not eating the standard American diet, you need more salt because your body isn't going to hold on to it once you're keto adapted and once you fast. You're going to dump your sodium. And if you drink shit tons of water after dumping your sodium, that's when you're going to run into some serious cramping issues, some serious problems, because you can flush the sodium out of your body once you are fat adapted. And this happens typically towards the end of a fast. Now, if you stick with a keto diet long enough and you fat adapt, your body becomes more efficient at holding on to its electrolytes, and you do retain more water weight than during the transition period. The transition period, which can be anywhere from a week to 6 weeks, is the roughest part, and that's where you will run into cramping and other issues. So let's see. Chris H, I lost a lot of weight from water fasting. Now I have a ton of loose skin. What can I do? Well, that's a big question I've already kind of addressed in some of the previous fucking videos I've done. There's not a whole lot you can do. There's just not. You can try doing longer fasts, but in my opinion, it would take so long to burn off the loose skin that you're just kind of stuck with it. You grew the shit, and it's hard to get rid of it. And you are more likely to lose a lot of muscle tissue before you get to the skin, And so surgery, I hate to say it, might be the only option for excessive loose skin. But I can't really tell you. I don't have a whole lot of loose skin. I have a little bit. And since I'm not to my goal yet, I still have some fat under it, so it doesn't look too bad. But overall, I think that's an issue, the loose skin, that isn't easily dealt with. So I'm going to scroll down a little because I feel like I'm falling behind. I'm going to catch up with the times here. All right. Keto Man said, no worries, I enjoy your channel. It's easy to miscommunicate comments that are 10 minutes old. Carry on, sir. Okay, yep. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch up. I'm still kind of new to this live chat shit. It's a work in progress. I'm doing the best I can. I think I'm flowing pretty good. I don't think I've given you guys a whole lot of dead air here as I try and look through shit and get things that show up here. So that's where we're at. I'm all caught up in the comments. CS just asked me, how tall are you? I'm 6 foot tall. My BMI has been hovering in the 25.5 to 25.9 range. I am fat in my midsection still. By no means do you see an ab anywhere on my fucking body. It's just not going to happen. So I'm not trying to look fucking like a certain way. I'm targeting, my main goal right now is 36 inches or under around the belly. And my arms are fine. I'm happy with my arms. I'm happy with my face, even under the beard and shit. I'm happy with my legs, although my legs look a little skinnier than I'd like, but I know that's a lack of exercise, not a fasting issue. And I guess it comes down to, will I turn it around and try and build muscle and try and sculpt myself once the fat is where I want it? Probably not. I don't know. It depends. I kind of am in a way, but I do some intense physical exercise. I do hike, carrying a significant amount of weight sometimes. I do um, kayak. I do ride bikes and shit, and that's just how it goes. I do the exercise that I enjoy doing. I don't think I'll be in the gym fucking lifting big heavy shit or running on the Fuckmaster, any of that. I got better shit to do with my time. I don't, that's not how I want to spend my days. And it takes a long period of time to build muscle, to really pull yourself physically up. It's a lot of work. And I respect people that do it. I respect bodybuilders who dedicate so much of their time sculpting their body, building their strength, building their endurance. I respect athletes that they want to do that and they enjoy doing that, but it's just not, I don't want to be a professional athlete or have an athletic build per se. I just want to be healthy enough to know that I'm not going to die in my 60s, all right? Or at least not die in a bad way, because you really can't prevent it. So let's see here. I'm falling a little behind here. Melvin Crabsocks wrote, I drank a shitload of alcohol last night. What's the best way to readapt? Is there such thing as an alcohol fast? Yeah, it's called alcoholic or alcoholism. Alcohol is a macronutrient. It shuts down your absorption of all other macronutrients, thereby fucking with your liver, because your liver will convert everything you eat to fat while alcohol is present in your bloodstream. Also, your liver and your brain are the only two things that can metabolize the alcohol. Your brain metabolizing it and getting you fucked up. Your liver metabolizes it the same way it does fructose, turns it into bad fat. The low dense cholesterol, which your body will also use to combat inflammation in your blood vessels, in your body, and send the fat to those locations to clog your arteries, to cause insulin resistance in your organs, and so on and so forth. Let's see here. Exercise builds muscle, Supernova says. Some of the skin or the guy with the eye tray skin, this helps a bit. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Supernova. Exercise build muscle to fill in some of the... Oh, yeah. Okay, he's saying build fucking muscle to fill out the fucking loose skin. Yeah, that works to a degree, but there's no way you'd be a big swole motherfucker if you were to try and build muscle to fill, because some of us were really obese when we started out. You can't tell somebody that's weighed over 400 pounds that they're going to fill up with muscle. They're still going to have fuck tons of loose skin problems. It's just part of the thing. But overall, yeah, it's not aesthetically pleasing, but you did increase your quality of life. You can get around easier. You can feel better. You can move around. That, to me, is more important than whether or not you got a ball sack hanging off of your belly or whether your man boobs got these long strips of skin. I'll take that over the alternative of suffering, misery, heart attacks, diabetes, all of the issues that come up when you are morbidly obese. Go for the loose skin, all right? Fucking have fun with it. Flap it around at your friends and say, hey, look at this. How you like this on your face? And then put it on their face and see how it goes. I mean, it's not aesthetically pleasing. No problem. I understand that. And a lot of people want to get rid of it for that reason. But overall health is more important than aesthetics. So, let's see what we got here. Splenda, the enemy on a water fast with black coffee. Sucralose, which is the original Splenda. Yes, this was by JP Lavin. I'm sorry, I got to keep mentioning your names. But, yeah, Splenda makes you hungrier. Most artificial sweeteners make you hungrier, and the only combination that I found is in Splenda Naturals. It has it right, and New Stevia is the other brand I've used, where they combine just stevia and erythritol and nothing else, no other additives, and those two do not move the needle in hunger for me. whereas sucralose made me hungry, and to the point where I noticed it enough to quit sucralose for the most part. During a feed time, I'll use it in my coffee because I'm pretty much going to be hungry anyway because I'm eating carbs and shit. But for the most part, I'm finding Splenda, sucralose in general, is bad when it comes to hunger. It doesn't move the needle in a fast, though, as far as it won't kick you out of anything or fuck with your blood sugar or insulin or anything. Let's see. Let me scroll down so I can catch up here. All right. Chris H. wrote, whenever I want to do a water fast, some kind of a social event, or someone will ask me to eat food. True story. You know, in order to be okay with water fasting, your social situation has to be okay with putting up with people offering you food regularly. And sometimes you get hangry, hangry when you're fucking irritable and you're stressed, because you don't handle stress as well when you're fasted. That's a fact of life. It's the negative aspect of fasting. Stress will fuck up a fast every bit as much as somebody putting a piece of cake in front of your face. Stress sucks for fasting. A lot of people that I talk to who have difficulties doing longer fasts are either surrounded by people feeding them or wanting to feed them, or the social pressures of it, or they are significantly stressed because of their job, lifestyle, family, friends, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. Anything that generates stress is going to make a fast more difficult, and it's also going to make you a little more of a dick when it comes to how you react to people around you. People aren't going to enjoy you while you're fasted, until you get into the groove of it. I'm to the point now where I can go 48 hours before I start getting a little edgy, to where I'm kind of calm, I'm kind of cool and collected. Around the 72-hour days where I'm a little bit of a bitch to be around, I'm a little bit of a dick. But that's part of the thing. It's a side effect that I can live with. So I'm an asshole sometimes, There's people that are assholes fully fed. So I think I'm all right, All right. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Ifring Khan says, NASA Nautilus weights routine on machines, builds lean muscle in very short time, was designed in part by Bill Pearl, 153 Mr. Usage. The website is still up. I have seen throughout my research that doing, low intensity strength training, as in, lifting weights for 15 minutes, can preserve your muscle every bit as much as going to the gym and doing a normal full strength training workout while fasting. A lot of this I heard from the Bulletproof camp and the biohacking community, who wants to use our natural reactions to foods and macronutrients to hack our way to better health and weight loss and better brain function and so on and so forth. That is an entire optimal nutrition realm that I don't really get too deep into. I don't want to be optimal nutrition. We all know I love fucked up foods and I like to drink and get drunk and have fun. And to me, you can't do that and still be optimal health. To each their own. I respect people that can. I've tried on more than one occasion, but I always come back. And it's that mental game of growing up with fucked up foods and drinking through my 20s probably didn't help anything either. So I'm by no means the measure of health that anybody should be trying to, I'm just saying I lost some weight and keeping it off, and I keep learning new shit, and I share the new shit I learn with everybody around me. Just being, Scott, do you experience headaches sometimes around day 2 of fasting? And the answer to that is no. Remarkably, I only get headaches when I'm fucking hungover. Very rare do I get a headache. I can't remember the last non-alcohol related headache I've had in the past couple years. There have been one or two, but I'm not sure that it was anything more than being dehydrated, which can happen to me from time to time, especially post drinking. But for the most part, I've never had that many headaches while doing intermittent fasting. So I don't know if that's a thing, if that could be correlated, because correlation doesn't mean causation or something like that. So yeah, I would say no, I am not having the headache issue. All right, let's see here. What else we got? Hi from the UK. You're awesome. I've lost 45 pounds up to yet, Big D. Congratulations. Keep it up. Keep doing the fasting protocols that work, and don't step up your game till you have to. That's another thing I want to go over real quick. Don't do longer fasts if the shorter protocols are working. Stick with the short shit until you get to the plateau. And fight the big battles with the big guns, fight the little battles with the little guns. If you just jump right in because you're in a hurry and start doing long fasts, you're going to panic the shit out of your body, and you might do what I did and this binge after a 5-day fast and cancel out the whole fucking thing, which sucks because you work hard when you're fasting. It's not easy to do a longer fast. So... Little Cable Boy, where does Pounding the Fuckmaster come from? A while back in one of my earlier videos, that's what I was calling people who go into the gym and play on all the machines all day and don't make much in the way of weight loss progress in the process because they immediately go out and eat right after that because exercise makes you pretty fucking hungry. And unless you have immense willpower, you will eat enough calories to cancel out the exercise weight or the exercise caloric drain that you put on your body. Your body knows what to do. Your body wants energy balance, and if you skew it by going to burn a bunch of calories doing cardio and whatnot, your appetite will adjust appropriately. That's what the hormones are designed to do. So that's where Pounding the Fuckmaster came in. It's stuck. It's one of the fucking random shit that comes out of my warped mind on a fucking video, and then it just stuck. And, so I keep going back to it. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So, let's see. Laura Rios. I exercise 1 hour a day while fasting. It keeps me on track. Whatever works for you, and I do believe in exercise as a source of better cardiovascular health, better muscle health, preserving muscle a lot better, because I can tell you there was a time where I broke my leg before all this fasting shit, and I was just sitting on my ass. I lost muscle doing that, even though I was eating my face off, so to speak. Muscle, if you don't use it, you lose it. It doesn't matter if you're fasting, if you're feasting, if you eat 6 small meals a day. If you're not using your muscles, your body doesn't keep it around. It keeps what it needs, what it thinks it needs to survive, and it uses whatever it needs to when the times come. That it's not, where it's questioning its own survival, it will eat up the muscle. You will atrophy. So... Melvin, I can fast without fear of being invited out to eat on account of my repulsive personality and disgusting physique. Well, I guess that's one way to approach it. But, we all can relate to, you need to think better of yourself, It's all a matter of perspective. And... some people think I have a disgusting personality. Some people think I'm ugly. The vegans tell me it all the time. But I don't give a shit. That's what it comes down to. It's not giving a shit what people think of your looks or your personality. It's more about how you feel about yourself. And that's what, that's kind of how I've been living my life lately, and it's gotten me to a better place in my life when I stopped really caring what people thought of what I do and what I say. I mean, people come at me all the time and tell me different things. Stop swearing, shave your fucking beard, cut your hair, they tell me fucking fix all these things that they perceive as wrong with me. And their perception is usually cosmetic, whereas mine's more deep rooted of myself. You know, I want to improve myself in the happiness department and the, you know, the balance between health and happiness and quality of life. So if I look disgusting to someone, or if somebody doesn't like my economic status or the fact that I say fuck all the time, tough shit. This is me. This is what I do. And that's really freed me in a lot of ways, to where I'm not worried about, you know, if somebody doesn't like what I have to say, they can fuck off, you know. And that's, to me, I think we don't do that enough. Too many people are all about changing the people around them to fit into the same mold. I say break the mold and don't look back. Venangus, is the product claim for magnesium okay during fasting? It helps with cramps. The ingredients that are in it are magnesium citrate and magnesium carbonate. Once again, I'm not a big fan of supplementation. I believe in trying to stock up on micros and, you know, electrolytes prior to a fast. I will intentionally eat nutrient dense foods in the days leading up to a long water fast to help get me through the hump period. The hump period being the first 72 hours, where if there's any deficiencies going on, you're going to know it. And also later on, 4 or 5 day mark, if there's any micro or macro or fucking any deficiencies in your body, they will come to light during your fast. And the longer you go, the more issues you can run into as far as what kind of toxins are in you, what kind of lingering things you've been storing or not storing. You're going to find out. And if you feel like shit during a long fast, end the fast and eat nutrient dense foods and try again later after some recovery time. You know, let your body know that you're done starving for a while. You know, that's what the feast is for. So don't, you know, if the only supplementation I guess you could say I do with magnesium is I do put magnesium in baths. I do the magnesium Epsom salt in my baths during a long fast, and I found that helped reduce cramping when I was having electrolyte issues. And that mainly happened when I was keto adapted and I did a 5-day fast. That really pointed out my electrolyte issues. So, all right. Hi, friend. Is it okay to do water fasts? There's 48 to 72 every few weeks. As can't find info on this, some say do every few months. You could theoretically do 48 fasts, you know, every couple days, you know, 2 days on, 2 days off. ADF is 1 day on, 1 day off. Your body doesn't think in terms of a 24-hour cycle. Your body is not concerned with that necessarily. There is a circadian rhythm, of course, but obviously if you're doing 5 days and 10 days and those kind of fasts, you want to give your body a break from fasting, you know, at least for 3 or 4 days after a really long fast. I mean, don't fast and eat intuitively. When you're hungry, eat. When you're not hungry, don't eat after a long fast. That's part of the recovery process, and that allows your body to get what it thinks it needs to not die. And once your body knows that you're not going to fucking die, then you can start easing back into some longer, more aggressive fasting protocols. I always drop down to 1 meal a day, you know, or eat when I'm hungry 2 meals a day, intuitive. You know, as in either a 16-hour fast or a 23-hour fast, somewhere in there, on days after a long fast, to make sure that my body is comfortable eating again and that everything is fucking normal. I'm no longer starving, no longer stressing the body. I'm giving it what it wants to rebuild the shit I tore down during the fast. And that is important. You want to give your body the recovery it needs after the fast. That's half the equation. Half of it's breaking shit down. The other half is building shit up. So, Darth Grinch, can you film yourself during a feeding? Want to see what you eat? Well, I pretty much described to you the kinds of foods that I ate over the weekend, which were all bad. But I suppose I could sit down when I'm trying to be healthy and go through some of the things I'm doing. I don't necessarily want to sit in front of the camera and stuff my face, because who the fuck would want to watch me stuff my face? But what I will do is at some point in the next week or so, I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna add that to my notes later. I'll sit down and just lay out some of the foods I buy in the grocery store and maybe talk a little bit about what I eat when I eat out. I tend to eat shittier when I eat out than I do when I go and buy food at the grocery store. I buy a lot of keto or low sugar carb options when I go to the store. I don't buy bread at the store or anything like that. I do lots of granola, whole grain, with high fiber. 6 grams of sugar is one of my favorite desserts right now. I get not new stevia, stevia naturals, or sorry, Splenda naturals for my sweetener for my coffee. I get heavy cream. I try and find the organic shit, even though it goes bad quicker, but I go through it pretty well. So, eggs, bacon, fucking pizza sauce that's low in sugar, pepperoni, cheeses of all kinds, lots of almonds, that kind of stuff. There's this stuff called, actually I have it right here, and at least the leftovers from it. I got this Veronica's fucking blown out because of the exposures, fucked up health crunch. And for example, stuff like this I look for on the package. Total carbohydrates is 9 grams per serving. There's 6 servings in one bag. Dietary fiber of that 9 grams is 7, so pretty much 2 net grams of carbs, both of which are sugar, 2 grams of sugar per serving. 5 grams of protein, so this is definitely not something you do during a fast. 12 grams of fat, only 1 gram saturated. The rest of it is pretty much nut fat. And, it's got 12% iron. It's not very nutritionally sound, but it's a nice, mildly sweet, dessert-like substance that I consume in lieu of eating cookies and cakes and all of that shit. This is the kind of shit I try and do when I'm home, when I'm not in social situations, and and we go from there. I look at labels for dessert-like snacks that aren't really heavy in sugar, that are heavier in fiber. I've been experimenting with the granola, as in I'm not sure if it's fucking me up or not. I don't feel like it's moved the needle that much on my feed days, not as much as if I sat and ate cookies all day, or what have you. But straight up, I do believe that lowering our sugar intake is probably the most important health thing we can do. And it's in a lot of fucking foods. Like if you eat a lot of bread, and some pastas have sugar in them, they're even putting sugar in some of the fucking meats in the deli. Just keep an eye on your sugar. I try, and 15 grams is like the max. And, I consider if I'm eating something with 15 grams per serving that I'm pretty much almost fucking up. So obviously I knew when I was eating pizza and, cake and ice cream, I knew that was bad, very bad. And know that. That's it. Know it. Know how, when you're fucking up, and know how to deal with it afterwards. With a longer fast in my case. So that's where I'm at with that. Let's see. Paul Smart, I've tried every keto bread recipe going. All shit. Don't bother. It's true. It all tastes like fucking eggs. Tired. I did get tired of the trying to make bread shit when I was keto adapted. There's no way. Bread is fucking bread. So the only way to get over it for keto is to just get over bread. And it can be done. It's really hard when you see a motherfucker tearing into one of them freshly baked fucking loaves at fucking Olive Garden, or, one of the other restaurants that makes their shit fucking fresh, as far as I know, probably from pre-processed sugar-filled dough. And you see him put the butter in, and of course we all love butter. And it's, all right, You're making it hard for me to fast. See what happened there? The little mental thing that just fucking happened. I wish that didn't happen, because now I'm thinking about food, and I still gotta not eat today, but it won't be a problem. Honestly, I try and expose myself to food and eating and shit. People eating while I'm fasting to help desensitize me to it, to get used to it. People already who know me in my personal life, leave me the fuck alone now. As far as, no, I'm fasting. They don't keep after it. Why are you doing that? It's bad. No, they know. They know. I'm an advocate for it. If I'm not eating, I'm not fucking eating, and they need to deal with that. But generally, on the weekends where I tend to be more social is also where my eating windows tend to fall. My 36-hour on my current protocol, 36-hour fasting period usually ends up being 40 to 45, sometimes 48, and then followed by a 36-hour eating period where I eat intuitively, and I don't really regulate anything besides the sugar. I do get some sugar in that shit and some alcohol, but I try and minimize that. I don't do it all day or throughout the eating period. It'll be a dessert with a dinner or so on and so forth, or one fucked up food, in a moderate portion, hopefully, with the exception of this binge last weekend, because I definitely screwed the pooch there. But I moved on. I got back up, dusted myself off, and here I am. I did notice, I forget who wrote it, but while I was scrolling through, I did notice somebody that asked why you get puffed up in the face when you consume bread. Well, when you consume refined carbs and sugar in general, your body starts to retain a lot of water. The reason it starts to retain a lot of water is that if you were depleted from a fast, it wants to store glycogen. And in order to create glycogen, it needs water. Glycogen's part water. That's why bodybuilders carb up, really, is because they get the glycogen stores in their muscles and they get looking more beefier than they really are. And when you first do a refeed, you might even lose weight at the first moment, but over the next 2 days, every water that you drink, every ounce, and you'll be thirsty if you don't, will puff you to fuck up. You will swole up all over the place, wherever your body holds on to water at. In my case, my belly gets noticeably larger. I've seen a 2-inch sway on my waist measurement on days where I eat excessive carbs. It's part of your body's natural, when you don't eat carbs, you flush the water out over the 72-hour period. When you do eat carbs, you hold on to that shit. And you hold on to it for a while till your body's filled all the glycogen. It's done all it can do. It needs it to make fat too. So if you're overeating carbs, in addition to the water weight, you will put on fat, and it will use the water because cells contain water as well. And you just got to understand that that's what the body's going to do when you eat carbs and sugar, especially refined carbs and sugar. The more carbs and sugar you consume, the more water weight you will hold on to. And the same with salt in that equation. If you're eating the standard American diet, heavy in salt content, salt is retained in the body, in your intercellular fluids, which is where your water is. And the more salt you have, the more water you can hold. And that's just part of the deal. You eat carbs and sugar, you're going to retain water weight. Anywhere from 8 to 15 pounds of water weight, depending on how much weight you have to begin with. Water is an integral part of our bodies. It's necessary for all of its functions. So that's why we die so quickly if we don't have water. Because it is integral to our energy storage, to our electrolyte distribution. It's where we store the electrolytes that keep us from dying. As far as, if you get a significant enough electrolyte deficiency, your heart will stop. Your muscles will seize. You could have a heart attack if you aren't careful. These are all electrolyte issues. So electrolytes are very important. And if you don't keep them balanced properly, you're going to be fucked. And so be thankful that you puff up when you carb up, because that means you are storing you have a place to put your electrolytes. And you should fill them up if you plan on doing a long fast, because during the process of excreting the water, you will still utilize the electrolytes that are stored in that water to get you through the transition period till the processes your body does to normalize, your electrolyte balance while you're starving. That is a process that takes place pretty much after the 72-hour mark. So during the time you have to get up 7 times a night to take a piss, keep in mind that those are electrolytes that you're pissing out too. So another way to not retain a lot of water weight is to keto adapt, and stay that way. You won't hold on to a lot. You'll hold on to a little after the adaptation's over. You will gain a pound or 2 of water weight and hold on to it, largely based on the amount of salt you consume, because your body won't be expelling it anymore once you're adapted. So if you really hate being bloated, ketogenic diet's the way to go. Some would argue a raw vegan diet could do the same thing, but I'm not going to get into that war. But the less refined sugar and carbs that you consume, the less water weight you will have. In fact, if you just quit sugar alone, you would drop water weight just from doing that. Chris, you will gain the water weight back after you finish the water fast. It is inevitable. That's a true story, and it's the same when you come off keto. The water weight returns. It's, like I said, it's a natural process. You have to just put up with it. You could go sweat it out in a fucking sweat house or some shit, but ultimately it's not going anywhere anytime soon. All right. I want to take a small break to bring to the attention of anybody who has been asleep for the last however many videos that you can contribute to more content, on Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/ScottTheTruckDriver. The reason I can talk to you live on a Thursday is because I'm not driving a truck anymore, and I've made my income flexible enough to allow me to do more videos and more live streams and podcasts. You do get an exclusive podcast once a week as a patron, so that's, I am trying to make some content for those that contribute, to reward them for, giving me a little extra. I'm going to give them a little extra. I have 2 producers that I know of right now. And let me bring up my relationship page so you can take a look at it. All right. There are several different levels. We got Dave and MSP as a producer. They get a pretty good say in the content. They get some exclusive videos. They get a lot of interaction and a lot of, say in the direction of the channel. Another producer down here is Robertino and Jesse Lopez. All of these other people are contributing on some level. Anyone that's associate producer or above gets the podcast. $1 gets you the typed blog that I do every morning. When I first get up, I write a blog after I weigh in and do my little fucking tape measure. I get on there and talk about, my thoughts for the day or whatever the direction I'm taking. We do have the executive producers as well. Also, I want to mention Matt Denman, the only sponsor that's on there. So that's one way to contribute, and I want to thank all of the people on this list. You can pause it and read and see who's in here, for helping me with the goal of getting the fuck out of the truck, because I cannot tell you how nice it is to not have to truck. Granted, I'm leaning heavily on Uber. I just filmed a video today about my thoughts on Uber versus minimalism and the whole taxi drivers getting pissed at us. I went into a large diatribe. That video needs to be uploaded tonight when I'm sleeping, so I should have it out to you guys tomorrow. So that's where I'm at with that. By the way, that's a picture I took a while back. I have it as one of my screen things. So anyways, the other way to contribute, of course, you can super chat on here if you're so inclined, or during any other live broadcast. And I do appreciate those of you who do that. Okay, that's enough me trying to grow the channel. Now we'll get back to the chat. You know, it's still, I'm enjoying hanging with you guys right now, so I want to continue to go through your chat here and respond. Chris, Scott, what is your goal weight? I don't have a goal weight. My goal, as I said, is 36 inches or below around my belly. If that happens to bring my BMI into order, that's fine. But, you know, I use the weight number as a benchmark of kind of what I'm doing, you know, but with the water weight fluctuations associated with ADF while consuming carbs and sugar are, you know, it's really hard to gauge where you're at because of the way the body works and the water weight fluctuations that happen. And the fact that you really need to do a 72-hour fast before your body is done with the water weight, before all the water's out of your system. That's one of the benefits of a longer fast, is you can see where you're really at, where you're at when the water's gone. And it's a good way to figure out. I already know where I'm at when the water's gone. Where I'm at is in the 187 pound range. When you take away the water weight, I weigh 187 pounds. Problem is you can't live like that. You can't live without the water weight unless you go keto. So I do wonder if I do another keto adaptation, if I would fall into that range. It'd probably be more like 189, 190 if I keto adapted. But that's, you know, it's weight is a number that's secondary to the tape measure at this point. The tape measure really tells me where I'm at. With bloating, for one, or on the days where I'm on the tail end of a fast before I break the fast, it gives me a little snapshot of where I'm at around the liver area. And that is my target. If I keep trying and I can't lock it in without obviously cutting alcohol and cutting sugar completely out and going straight up keto all the time, I don't know that I will continue to try and pursue that. I have a lot more fasting experiments lined up to try and get there without going keto all the time. Will I go keto occasionally? Yes. But I will tell you, I do get tired of keto after long periods of time. I start to miss my little fucked up foods that I like. Even though I'm not addicted to them, it does cure the cravings, but the mental game. That's the mental game, and I am not a master of the mental game. I try to be, but no, I don't ever really get there. I'll work on it. We'll see. But for now, I'm trying to do a year of ADF with long fasts sprinkled in to experiment and see if I can lower that fucking plateau level, which I have. I do get down to 190, 191, whereas not even a year ago I was stuck at 193, 195 in that area. So I have lowered the number a little, and I think it takes a long time to lower that set point once you've been obese. And so I am noticing that it has trended down. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm going through here. Scott, have you thought of doing You Now? I have no idea what, You Now. I don't know what that is. I have enough trouble juggling YouTube, Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, and, you know, I don't hardly post anything on Twitter except for links to my videos when they're up, which I'm not even sure I should be doing because I don't know that translates if people watch me through Twitter. I already know Facebook doesn't translate, and which is another way of robbing YouTubers for their content, in my opinion. So that's why I don't post direct links to Facebook anymore to my videos. But I do post on Facebook. It brings up another topic, Scott the Truck Driver on Facebook. I do post articles I come across, not just to share with you guys, but also I use it to put somewhere. If I need to go back and talk about an article in my video, I store them on Facebook. So if you check out and like my Facebook page, you'll see some of the reference materials or even other inspirational videos. I posted a video about minimalism today. Well, not really minimalism, but it was a video from a while back that kind of provoked some thoughts in me that I came across about, working and how much of our life is spent doing what the other guy does and that kind of stuff. So if you want to see links to shit and some of the articles I read, little snippets of thoughts, I put that on Facebook. Patreon, I do my blog, my weekly podcast. There is going to be a monthly live stream for producers. There are going to be other perks that I bring online after the first month starts, because it's a billing cycle. Like, I don't get you get billed at the beginning of the month, I believe, even if you were to commit now. So those are things that I do on those platforms, and of course YouTube is my main platform right now. As long as they don't piss me off, that'll be where it stays. So I have thought of Twitch and a few other things, but I'm one guy. These are things that if I can do YouTube full time, I will look into. But right now, I still need to diversify my time. I'm doing Uber on the side. I'm doing photography on the side. I do odd jobs. I do, whatever can bring in a little money to keep me afloat financially, aside from YouTube. So that takes away from my time. So I will look into more platforms when I have time to do so. But I can tell you right now, the more platforms I do, because this is a one-man show, I don't have producers, I don't have editors, I don't have people doing all of the work involved in producing content. So to try and diversify the amount of platforms that I market it out to, that can be a full-time gig. There's people that do that for a living, that do social media and sharing. You put out a piece of content and they'll go out to all the social media platforms and pimp it out for you. But as this develops into a more full-time pursuit, to where I'm, doing everything exclusively for YouTube income, then I'll start diversifying into other platforms and really taking it to another level. So, bro science, they say your waist should be half your height, i.e. 36-inch waist. It's not just bro science. I did find some studies that showed that correlates greatly to the amount of disease that we have. It's not 100% scientific. There has been no individualized studies of that. But I will say that, for me, I feel that is the goal. I'm already down to, medium to large shirts. I'd like to be able to wear a medium shirt and not see the pudge. That's one of my goals, for aesthetics. At least I look like a thin motherfucker. Doesn't matter if it looks like a ball sack under there. But, I want to do it for that. I want to do it for hopefully curing my fatty liver to some degree, or at least reducing the damage I've done over the years. And I know I can't necessarily accomplish that goal while eating fucked up shit. So the belly fat is the last to go. And it's the biggest, hardest fight. It's probably what you should save the long fasts for. If you still have a lot of visceral fat around your arms, legs, face, and, all of that to lose, don't do the long fast till you need to, really. Because that shit will just fall right the fuck off you with, even just one meal a day. You will lose shit tons of weight at one keto adaptation, and you'll get rid of the shit in your arms, your legs, and your face. But the stuff around the belly, because that's the first place we make our fat. That's where it goes. It's where it stays. It's where the first place that when your body needs energy, it looks for it. It'll get rid of, your muscles will eat up all the visceral fat. But your liver is what utilizes the abdominal fat. And if you're constantly stuffing, yourself with things that make fat through your liver is going to never get to the point where it burns off its fat. That's causing the hepatic insulin resistance that happens when you have a fatty liver. And that fat isn't from eating fat. That fat's from eating carbs and sugar, particularly sugar and fructose and alcohol, cause your liver to create the fat that ultimately creates the liver insulin resistance. So, all right. How are we doing on time here? Been at it almost an hour and 20 minutes. And you guys hate long videos, huh? Oh, hold on. I need a drink of water real quick. Since we're live. We're now caught up. I'm now caught up on my, for the most part. If I miss some of your comments, they're flowing pretty good as far as the live chat goes, so it's hard to keep up. So I'm doing the best I can. Oh, water. Just saying. Not coffee. Not tea. Good old-fashioned water. But don't overdo it, because you can flush your electrolytes on longer fasts. All right. Just Beans just wrote, belly fat is fucking evil. Yep. But one could argue it's a survival advantage, I guess. If there's ever a famine, could happen, you never know. All the McDonald's might fucking drop off that earth at the same fucking time, and then we got belly fat to get us through the hard times. Okay, so we don't need it anymore. I know. It's hard to get rid of, though. All right. Alexander, should I be worried about my metabolism tanking while I'm fasting? Your metabolism will tank in a situation where your body thinks you are going to starve to death. This can happen during long fasts. This can happen during exercise and eating a very low-calorie diet or low-calorie diet. Your body knows when the balance of energy balance, when your energy balance is not in balance. Your body's hormones are designed to keep you from burning more calories than you take in. So if your body notices that you are not consuming enough calories, you will slow your metabolism down. But the studies have shown that when you do eat less, move more, as in 500 calorie deficit, going to the gym, pounding the fuck master, doing all that shit, that your metabolism tanks more than when you intermittently fast. And the reason for that is, like I said earlier, you're not really on a 24-hour clock. You're mobilizing several survival things, because if you were to just wither away and have a slow metabolism whenever there was no food around, you wouldn't be able to go out and kill a goddamn fucking gazelle and get your goddamn fucking food back. You would die. We would have died off a long time ago as a species if our bodies work that way. When you do a fast, there are processes that kick in over the first 72 hours that enable you to have the energy that your metabolism does not slow. It'll go through this period where it kind of wavers, where you'll experience slower metabolism, and then it ramps up, and then it drops off, and then it ramps up. And it does that as the fast progresses. But depending on the energy expenditure during the fast is the other issue. If you are doing serious amounts of cardio or serious amounts of exercise during a fast, you are exacerbating the fact that you're burning a hell of a lot more energy than A, you're taking in, or B, that you even have available. You can't just grab your fat as fast as you can metabolize glucose and glycogen. So if you are doing intense exercise while fasted, then your metabolism almost certainly will tank. And it can stay that way. And it's also, if you look at the Biggest Loser study, which is a very extreme example of eat less, move more, their metabolisms tanked and stayed that way despite, to the point where some of them were regaining weight. And this is documented scientifically. This isn't, they were just eating more because they was fat and shit. No. They started regaining weight even though their protocol didn't change, even though they were going to the gym, even though they were eating the same amount of calories that they did to lose the weight. their body shifted to, it lowered their metabolism to a point where they were still in a caloric surplus, even though they were eating below their basal metabolic rate, which to translate means they fucking were, their body lowered their energy below the point of their goddamn fucking diet and exercise. They were burning less, sitting on their ass, than they were before doing all of that to themselves. So it's definitely, you want to worry about your metabolism. And in my opinion, in order to keep your metabolism going, and I haven't had significant slowing, there's been periods during long fasts where I got cold, which is a symptom of a slower metabolism. Rapid weight gain, despite, keeping out the bad sugars and carbs, is another sign. But I notice when I go ketogenic, that's not an issue. I don't gain weight on keto as efficiently as I do with carbs and sugar. So really, the metabolism issue is also related to the hormones and how our body perceives our situation. Leptin drops. Leptin's what tells your body you have enough energy on board. And when your brain perceives that drop in leptin, you will try and eat to compensate. And to my knowledge, the only way to offset that is to go keto. Because if you're consuming carbs and sugar and your body perceives that leptin drop, it will slow your metabolism. So it's not just fasting that can do this. It's pounding the fuck master. There's all kinds of ways that your body decides, hey, you're burning more shit than I got. I'm going to fucking stop this. And it'll slow you the fuck down. You'll feel lazier. You won't want to get out of bed. You'll want to sit in front of the TV. You won't feel motivated. There's all kinds of little tricks that your brain does to keep you from burning energy. It'll slow you the fuck down. Not just, the hardcore shit like the temperature drops and that kind of stuff. It will actually take away your motivation to do physical activity. You won't feel like doing shit. And that's part of the process that your brain reacts when it thinks that it's going to starve if it keeps burning the same energy level that it's burning now. So, and it's unavoidable. There's very few people that lose with eat less, move more, that once they stop that activity, maintain their results over the long term. Some can go a year, some can go 3 or 4 years before the weight creeps back. And it involves a shit ton of willpower. So metabolism is a thing. You can lower it during a fast. But I think that the lowering is transient, as in during a long fast, it does drop during the fast and rebounds as you refeed. Whereas when you do eat less, move more, and your metabolism drops, it doesn't know to bounce back, it seems. It doesn't get there. And I think that's a large my theory on that is because insulin blocks leptin, which leptin's what your fat cells secrete, tells your brain that you had enough fucking energy on board, you don't need to keep stuff in your face. When you are constantly eating these small fucking meals, you're spiking your insulin, and that blocks the leptin signal to your brain and keeps you in that hunger cycle. That's why juice fasting motherfuckers are always fucking hungry, because they're blocking their leptin. Their leptin falls because they're losing the weight, because they're in this huge caloric deficit. And then they spike their insulin so that even if they start putting fat back on, they're still fucking hungry. And their brain's doing all the tricks to conserve energy and to make them eat. And it takes a shit ton of willpower to get through that shit. And I don't know about you. I don't have a lot of that. So. Chris, that's why cavemen were fit, not fat. Cavemen had to hunt for their food. Wish we had that now. LOL. Honestly, now that brings up another philosophical point. Oop, I'm hitting my little dead cat. Yeah, I get dead cats and shit. I'm pro. But, that brings up another philosophical point. Would we, if we were to return to hunter-gatherers, would we be able to sustain our population? there's a part of me that acknowledges that the processed foods may be necessary to keep us, yeah, we're not going to be healthy doing it, but if we all had to go organic and hunter gatherer and no fucking massive factories and manufacturers producing frankenfoods for us, how long would we last? Would we have enough to be able to farm and, livestock and, so on and so forth to sustain huge dense populations in large cities? I don't think we would. I think one of the reasons we have so much in the processed food department, aside from the money issue, is we need to sustain large populations in areas that in densely populated areas. And if you have a dense population, the resources in that area are null and void. So there's no way we could go back to being hunter-gatherers because we are too closely packed together and there would be no resources. What would happen if you were in a city and everybody in the city suddenly didn't have any food coming in and you had to eat what was around the city? Would that sustain your city's population? And in some places like New York City and, Los Angeles, fuck no, they'd starve to death. There'd be ravenous motherfuckers in the streets beating the shit out of each other for whatever food they might still have. It'd be like Walking Dead times 10. So that's what I think as far as the whole food issue, the processed food issue. That's an argument that could be made for processed food. Yeah, it sucks. And our health is fucked. And we got to basically, we're hunter gatherers in a different sense. We got to hunt and gather our fucking healthy foods, and it's more expensive and we got to work harder to make it happen. But that's how it goes. Jason Baccaro. Yo, what's up, Scott? Just joined. Welcome. Been quite a nice hangout. I'm really enjoying the bouncing off of you guys in the chat, and you guys send me on these little tangents that I think are going to be good. I don't know. I got to watch this back when I have a couple hours of fucking free time. I'm probably going to wrap it up pretty soon. We are at an hour and a half, but I'm enjoying this. I hope you guys are enjoying the live show, and I hope I'm keeping things flowing fairly well. And hopefully these get better as I go. So, hi, Fran. Yes, when I was a gym instructor, I had 6 meals a day. It was torture: eggs, tuna, chicken, creatine, ganga, HNB, motherfucking, I can't even pronounce that. Tribulus? All right. I don't ever want to eat whatever that supplement is. Don't want to return to the lifestyle, just be slimmer. And yeah, I've always been anti-supplement, and I've even heard people that do fasting and keto, and they do a long water fast and they take branched chain amino acids, which of course is protein, and will kick you out of autophagy and probably make you hungry when you do that. That's the other issue, by the way, that I would have with a fast that integrates protein into it. It will trigger hunger, I believe, because your body knows it's not getting a whole lot of protein. And whenever you're not eating your eggs, I feel you will be hungrier than had you just fasted straight through. But that's a theory. I haven't practiced the egg fast, so I don't know. Juice fast, you're going to be fucking starving. Without fail. Hungry. All the time. Even when you wouldn't normally be hungry on a water fast, you'll be hungry on a juice fast. And you'll want more fucking juice. And it's still not going to make you fucking not hungry. So. Hey, Scott. I'm really hypersensitive to the drop in energy thing with my condition. I'm not. I don't remember what you said. I know you said something in the comments not too long ago, but I don't remember what your condition was. But yes, the energy drop thing is hormonal, and it's triggered by drops in leptin and ghrelin, not so much. But it's the whole balance between insulin and leptin, and you can really, that's why when we eat high carb, especially if you've been low carb a while and you're not ready for it, that it really whacks you with the hormones and you don't feel like doing shit. You want to lay in bed, you want to not exercise or do anything. And honestly, the only way around that's to not eat the fucked up foods at all, you know? It's really hard to get through those crashes. I've had a few since I've reintroduced carbs and sugar into my life. But I will say I'm not the kind of guy that has to take a nap during the day. And I do get up and get out and get stuff done. So fasting does help to some degree get your hormones to do their fucking job. Because your body knows that if you're not eating, it needs you to get out there and fucking get some food. And this requires energy. That's where the mental clarity, that's where you feel energetic while fasted. But don't overdo it during the fast because that will crash your metabolism. If it's okay to stress yourself a little by not eating as much and doing, moderate level like walking or, going places or working. But if you're doing intense things like heavy lifting and lots of cardio, that'll fuck you. You will tank your metabolism in those situations because your body can only take so much, when you're already demanding that it survive without sustenance, which is healthy. It exercises the muscles of your body as far as, its survival response. And it's a healthy part. We're designed to do it. We're not designed to eat every day, and we never have been. And the stressing, it provokes a response in us that is healthy, which is one of the reasons fasting is healthy. But the metabolism, it's a slippery slope. And it's really dependent, it's really individualized to different people. Different people have different activity levels, which can lead to different levels of fucked upness when it comes to metabolism. So, but my advice for you, Kayla, am I pronouncing your Kayla? My advice to you would be to... I'm sorry, Roman. I just noticed you said, I'll go back and look at your comment after I talk to Kayla. My advice, if you are running into that issue with, energy, is to kind of get... One of the things I notice when I'm feeling that way is if you get up and get moving, even if you have to force yourself to, sometimes that momentum carries through and you pick up steam, especially during a long fast. Sometimes during a long fast, your metabolism slows and you don't feel motivated to do anything. You don't feel like getting out of bed. But once you get up and get out there and start fucking moving and you're rolling and you're getting on with your day, your body does pick up the pace and realize, hey, okay, he's not going to eat if I don't fucking do this shit. And you will find that your metabolism is kind of forced to ramp up a little just by forcing it to, by getting up and making yourself do things and move and become active. If you just lay there, you're not going to get a magic burst of energy from fasting. So, okay, I was supposed to go back. Who was I skipping here? Sorry, I'm scrolling back, so you might want to slow down with the comments if you want me to try and get to you. I already forgot who said that. Who am I skipping? All right, Roman told me I was skipping, so I'm going to scroll back and see what Roman was saying. Where is it? All right, hold on. I think I just slowed everything to a fucking grinding halt. Roman Graham wrote, my cholesterol went up points. I've lost 90 pounds. Cholesterol would have went down. Okay, your HDL cholesterol does go up. But here's the thing. Cholesterol isn't a good measure of whether or not you're at risk for heart disease. Triglycerides are. What did your triglycerides do? Low density LDL, in particular the low dense particles that are used by the body to combat inflammation, So if you're eating fucked up foods and you're inflaming all your arteries, your body will make the cholesterol necessary, which your body makes cholesterol. It's not just about the cholesterol you eat, because that doesn't automatically just climb into your fucking body. Your liver processes all the foods you eat. And one of the things it does is make cholesterol. And it does so out of sugar and carbs and alcohol. And then that cholesterol is utilized by the body when you have inflammation, particularly in your arteries and other areas and muscles and tissues. This is what can lead to insulin resistance, in my opinion. This is based on all my fucking research and head knowledge on the subject. But by no means, there's probably a doctor or scientist that could explain it fucking way better than me. But your body makes cholesterol. That's what you got to understand. Just because you eat cholesterol doesn't mean your cholesterol is going to go up. You can eat sugar and carbs and your cholesterol will go up, and not the good cholesterol. Most of the studies citing intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet show a slight rise in the good cholesterol and a drop in the bad cholesterol, a drop in triglycerides, overall improvements to your blood work from ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, reductions in IGF-1. You can go on and on. You can research all of this. Google it, because you'll find better, more scientific versions of what I'm saying. But your blood work does improve, but it doesn't improve into the standard doctor fucking paradigm of how our blood is supposed to look and our risk factors, because that shit's been wrong and it has done nothing but promote statin use throughout our fucking past 40 years of trying to go low fat, high carb. And where did that get us? So keep in mind, you got to find a good doctor that's open-minded on this stuff, that is listening to us out here in the world about how important nutrition is to our health, and not just pushing pills down our throat. Find a doctor that does that. I don't care if it's a vegan doctor. If you want to follow that kind of diet, go ahead. There's plenty of vegan doctors. There's keto doctors. There's fasting doctors. Doctors are starting to come on board, mainly because they have to. We're dragging them kicking and screaming into this. So my advice is, there are people that had the cholesterol issue you're describing, that had a heart attack, that ignored doctors' advice, did their research to a T, and chose to go keto, and their numbers improved. And they did not have another heart attack afterwards. So there's that. It's ultimately up to you how much you trust your doctor and your health care and what you need to do. I am by no means an expert. You shouldn't follow me for medical advice of any kind. I'm not able to fucking do anything special for you. I'm just telling you the things I've heard, the things I've seen, the things I've read, things I've done, and what it's done to me and its effects on me. So this is all opinion, as long as we keep that in mind. But yes, on a ketogenic diet, cholesterol can rise. But cholesterol, I believe, is not an accurate measure of risk for heart disease. There are plenty of other metabolic indicators with metabolic syndrome that can coincide with heart disease and heart attacks. And I still believe that sugar and processed refined, carbs are probably one of the biggest things we're abusing, because if you look 30, 40 years ago at the big spike in our obesity, heart disease, and diabetes epidemics, they coincide. Our fat content didn't change. We're not consuming any more or less fat now than we did through the 1800s and 1900s. But since 1970, our carb and sugar intake has skyrocketed because we went low fat. Meanwhile, we didn't reduce our fat. We just upped our carbs, and sugar particularly has skyrocketed compared to people even in the 20s and 30s, 1920s and 1930s. So we got to keep that in mind. Fat there are healthy fats, there are bad fats. Vegetable oil's bad, you know, olive oil, fucking butter, natural fats, saturated fats are good for us. This is a new thing, you know. Well, it's not that new, but it's still been on the fringe because it has to overcome that low fat dogma. But overall, you know, we just got to understand that because you are eating fat doesn't translate automatically into high cholesterol and fat as far as whether or not it's bad for you. Inflammation is the biggest thing, and processed foods and sugars, particularly the bad shit, and alcohol, some processed meats, some of the factory farmed meats that weren't fed properly, that are high in omega-6s, these all cause the inflammation. Inflammation is the indicator for heart disease. The cholesterol is just something your body makes to fight the inflammation. And fasting is a well-documented way to reduce inflammation. Sounded fucking intelligent when I thought it. Hopefully it came across that way. I don't get to watch back live to make sure I didn't sound dumb. All right, I missed a whole lot of chat during that, so I'm sorry. Let me just see if there's any highlights here in the chat. I want to thank you guys for turning out and the numbers you have. I mean, yeah, we got 43 people watching. That's more than I expected on a Thursday. So thank you guys for coming and really helping me produce this. Darth Grinch, Ansel Keys is an asshole. Yep, he was. He's a well-documented asshole. He didn't want to hear you. You know, he wasn't open to debate. He didn't want to hear anything that didn't support his theories and hypotheses. So, Ask Faisal, Fung doesn't recommend long fast if you are too skinny. 16.8 OMAD max. That is true. You need to, and I ran into this in comments in another video earlier, you do need to have enough body fat on board to do a long fast. This is absolutely essential, because if you do not have enough body fat, your body will consume muscle, tissue, loose skin, all kinds of shit. It will waste. Your body will consume itself if you don't have enough fat on board. It's the next step. Your body knows when you got fat on board, and your body will utilize it before it starts taking out the essential organs and tissues, or even the muscle that thinks you need to go out and kill something and eat it. But once that fat is down to a critically low level, you begin starvation. And you'll know when you're fucking starving. Your brain will be consumed with thoughts of food. You might even go insane. You will feel completely like shit. You will waste. If you ever really want to watch somebody starving, watch the 40 Days edition of Naked and Afraid, because you will see people that go incredibly long time on very little food and very little body fat. And you will see their body fat get down to critical levels, and you will see them start to succumb to starvation. Fat guys ain't going to have that problem. If you take a fat guy and put him on that show, yeah, they won't be happy. They're going to have some electrolyte issues, just like the rest of us. All the toxins are going to get released. They're going to feel like shit. But ultimately, they'll be functional. But if you take somebody at like 9-10% body fat and you starve them for 40 days, they're going to burn through their fat pretty quickly, especially in physically intense activities like survival. And you'll notice that they will feel a lot worse. In some cases, had to be taken off the show because of how bad they got. And that's a good example of a show that I watch to kind of see the effects of being a hunter-gatherer. And they've had vegans on there too, and you should go and check out that show if you don't. it's really interesting to me to watch, because it's taking people from today's society who think they know all how to survive in the wilderness, and they're dropping them ass in the fucking toughest wilderness that they can find with nothing but one survival tool and no clothing. And if you could get through that, I have great respect. I have a theory that if you were to fatten your ass up before you did that, you could get through the whole show and not eat a fucking thing. You just drink your water, make sure you boil your water, and you literally could just sit on your ass, boil water, make sure you got your shelter squared away, and do all of the other survival things, and get through the entire show without fucking, worrying about it. That's a theory of mine. I might have to test it one day. Might have to do a 40-day wilderness fast where I just bring water and see if that survival technique holds any weight, so to speak. All right, how are we doing here? Jason just wrote, I'm alcohol's bitch, though I haven't quit it since I began my weight, 85 pounds down. But I may have to cut loose to lose my last 25 pounds. Yep, alcohol will slow your progress. Interestingly enough, when you drink, after the alcohol is burned off, you are in ketosis because you have metabolized everything else into fat. So, especially if you're keto adapted and you drink straight liquor with no carbs, you will be in deeper ketosis afterwards. You can actually check that with the keto strips or blood ketone meters. And so while you're burning alcohol, you're burning alcohol. Once the alcohol is gone, you are in deeper ketosis than you would have been had you just eaten, per se. So. All right, okay, Scott, trying one last time. It's almost 1 a.m. where I live. Did you find articles about the Scotsman who did the $385-day fast? Might be an argument there for loose skin prevention. I didn't see an article about loose skin. If you know of one, by all means, post it. There's not a lot of follow-up on that guy that I found. I imagine he wouldn't have a shit ton of loose skin because he went so long on his fat reserves and didn't have protein coming in. So not having protein coming in, his body theoretically should have eaten a lot of the loose skin. Not all of it, but a great deal more of it than people who eat less, move more their way down and end up with shit tons of loose skin. So that's a good question. I'm sorry if people are... The chat keeps moving when I go off on my little diatribes, and there's really not much I can do about it. And, I keep scrolling back periodically to see if I can find some stuff. But if I don't get to you, I'm sorry. That's just how it goes. I do the best I can. Let's see what else we got here. How are we doing on time? I keep looking at the time. Okay, we got 10 minutes left, so I'm going to still look through your guys' chat and try and address things here and there. Supernova wrote, Scott, pleasure hanging with you and the lovely people here. Thank you for the live chat. It's almost 2 a.m. here. So, yeah, apparently I'm making people stay up late over the pond. So I'm sorry about that. I will try and schedule different time periods for the live show because I know I have people in the UK that watch and in Australia and in some other places. So I'll try and be a little more diverse with the scheduling, not just schedule it for Eastern time. I thought I was kind of doing early enough by going at 5, from 5 to 7. I'll try and do an afternoon one, maybe on a weekend or something when more people are free on both sides of the pond, and we'll figure it out from there. So I think we're gonna wrap this little hangout section up. Thank you for those of you who watch and subscribe and keep this going and growing. Thank you to my patrons who help support. This is a full-time endeavor eventually. Like I said, I get my $2,000 a month goal. This is a full-time job guaranteed, and more development from there, like websites and shit and so on and so forth. But thank you to all of you for who showed up tonight to hang out with me. And this has been very fun. It does get me going. It gets my thought process going. It will make me go out and find more stuff to research to kind of answer some of the things that came up in the chat tonight. So, exercising while water fasting, James just wrote with a big fucking question mark. Shorter fasts, yes. Longer fasts with moderation. All right. So if you're doing one meal a day, by all means, exercise fasted. You're nowhere near worrying about burning off your muscle for that. If you're doing a 5-day fast, you might want to rein it in a little and be a little more moderate, as in lighter weights, not heavy cardio, light cardio, walking, hiking versus jogging, running, that kind of stuff. You don't want to do activities when you're doing a longer water fast that require a huge demand that would normally have been filled by glycogen. Because if you do that, then you're going to, through the process of gluconeogenesis, you are going to accelerate the breakdown of lean mass, especially during that critical transition period of 72 hours. Once you become a little more protein sparing, deeper into a water fast, from what I've seen in my own semi-long water fasts, you can get away with more activity. But still, you don't want to do high intensity shit while on a long water fast. But anything less than 48 hours, knock yourself out. Do a full fucking workout. You're not might not perform as well when your glycogen gets depleted. But overall, if anything, it can accentuate those fasts and get you to a glycogen depleted state and more of a fat burning mode during the fast if you burn off all your glycogen in the gym, At the same time, you can run into some metabolic issues if you're doing a longer fast with exercise. But thanks for stopping me from ending the video with that. See, that's how ADD I get with shit, which is probably why I don't know that live shows are going to be a thing, because I can go off on these I do it during my videos. You guys bitch sometimes that my videos are too long. That's one of the reasons they're long, is I have this like a stream of thought process, and sometimes I just go off on these little tangents. So I'm sorry for the doing that. That's just how I am, I guess. So remember, of course, even when I'm live, I'm still not a fucking expert. Never gonna be. Not trying to be. I'm just an asshole like everybody else. And I'm really, glad that we're doing something here together in a community format and learning shit together and sharing knowledge. Because I do learn a lot from you guys as well. There are things that you guys have done that I haven't touched. I haven't done a 30-day fast. Some of you have done that. I haven't done, even a 14 or a 10 or a 7. Those are all on my shit list to do, Or my list of shit to do, not shit list. So, that's why we're here. We're sharing our experiences because no one's telling us the right way to do it. They're all given opinions, and we follow different opinions based on our belief structure. But ultimately what it comes down to is when we try something and either succeed or fail at it. And, just because someone's doing something different than what you're doing, I know I come down on the vegans a lot. It's really just to give them a little bit of shit, especially the evangelical ones. But ultimately, it's about what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And yeah, I'm going to give opinions on things, but that doesn't make it gospel. That doesn't make it the way it should be. There are different points of view, different life experiences, different bodies, different metabolisms, different, genetics involved. So I'm just sharing what works with me and hoping that we continue to grow together. Well, shrink together, so to speak. But I'm getting close. I keep flirting with that 36 inches, and once I get there, it'll be about maintenance from that point and more research and occasionally regaining some weight so that I can do some long fasts. There will be times where I intentionally gain weight, and I'll try and do it in a healthy way, build some muscle or something. But I'm by no means going to become a full-on bodybuilder. I'm just going to regain weight, try and regain some lean mass to go with it, and then do longer fasts once I'm in maintenance mode, which isn't hard. I gain weight, no problem. Whenever I need to get fat, I'm your guy. If you want to learn how to gain weight, I'm pretty sure I'm an expert at that. I'm an expert at getting fat. I really know how to do it. Alrighty. Chris, in order to do a 30-day water fast, you will have to stay in your house like a hermit away from people. You're not completely wrong. Depends on how hangry you get and how much willpower you have. I don't know. I made it through the 5-day fast, no problem. So, and I was around people, I was around food, I saw people eating. I could have easily gone 7 days, but I knew I was going to be in social situations, so I kind of guess I was gun shy about it. Maybe one of these times I got to put my fucking balls down and go, look, I'm going to have to be in a social situation while fasted. There's no way, aside from a wilderness fast, which is I want to do, that I feel I would be able to do a long fast in a social environment. It would be difficult, but not impossible. I'll add that to my list of shit to do too. So I'm going to go ahead and end the show now. Thank you for everyone that showed up. If I didn't get to your chat, I'm sorry. It was scrolling quite a bit during my little thoughts that came out. But for those of you who got through, thank you. If I didn't get to you, I'm sorry. You can leave comments under this later on after the stream is finished. And from there, I'll answer those comments as best I can. I do go through comments on every video I post. I try to do so regularly. Obviously, the more this channel grows, the more difficult that's going to become. And that's kind of one of the reasons for Patreon and Super Chat and all of that. No Super Chats this time. Did I see any? Oh, no. Let's see. Open a new window. I should probably make sure there were no Super Chats before I leave. All right. So, yeah. So, if I didn't get to your comments, I'm sorry. Or your chats. I did the best I could. I don't have anybody moderating this. I'm either staring at the chat window or I'm talking. So, I tried to do an equal part of both. So, thank you all for showing up. Oh, sorry. I keep looking at the chat and having to answer questions. All right. Autophagy. What hour does it occur by GJO? Get the fuck up or something. I don't know what your name says exactly, but it varies. It depends on your glycogen depletion levels, how much energy you're expending, but generally between 24 and 72 hours to varying degrees, with you being in full-blown autophagy at the end of 72 hours. Once your glycogen is completely gone, you haven't taken in any calories, you haven't taken in any, proteins or carbs, autophagy kicks off. Some say it begins in the 24-hour region, and it does continue to build, the longer you go. And it starts out, cleaning out your digestive system. So you get rid of all the bacteria that dies off, the fungus that dies off, and you go through all of that, and that gets cleaned out, and you shart that out. And then slowly but surely it starts to take on the damaged tissues. That's why people do report some healing of scars and things like that happen, improved complexion and reduction in zits and stuff like that. So it's a slow process that is highly dependent on how much energy you need from glucose, which is highly dependent on your activity levels. All right, now I'm really fucking getting off of this. It's been 2 fucking hours you guys had me in here. So remember, I'm not an expert. I'm just a fucking asshole. And have a nice motherfucking day and shit. Here, hold on. I gotta fucking put some goddamn graphics up so we have an outro. And let's see, we make some logo rotate and shit. Yeah, there's that. That's pretty, isn't it? I worked really hard to make that. Took me fucking 3 hours to make that. Not to mention rendering time. And let's see, we should probably have some music too, right? Let's see, what do we got here? Actually, no. Fuck it. I don't feel like putting music on. We'll just leave that as the outro. And have a nice motherfucking day. And shit. Oh, I realized the volume dropped off. Have a nice motherfucking day and shit. You can go now. I'm finished. Seriously, everyone's still here. What the fuck? Still chatting and shit? We can stop now. You know, some of you need to go to bed. You gotta get up in the morning. I don't gotta get up, but I do. I wake up at like 6:30 every day. It's fucking annoying. Really, you're still here. You're not giving up. What the fuck? Should I really be a troll and see how long people watch the spinning fucking logo? I could leave him running for another hour. I wonder. This is like you're at a fucking Marvel movie and you're waiting for that little extra video. Like if I were to do this, haha. Marvel's onto something with their marketing. I like that. Shut it down, dickhead. All right. Bye bye. For real this time.